Hey y'all, Bloodwing here, back to bring some grumpiness to your internet. And welcome back to Redneck Radio, the live stream where today, since it's a very dark, dreary, and rainy day here where I live, you get an extra healthy side helping of chili. Just a big bowl of chili. God, that sounds good.
Mm.
Love me some chili, especially the second day.
Oh yeah, after it's had some time to sort of congeal and mix.
Oh, yeah. With me today, she's been on the stream a few times. You know her well. She's our favorite Canadian foot fetishist.
I'm like, wait, what? When did I do that? Oh, right, I remember that.
Say hi, Jen.
Hi, Jen.
And with us for the first time today, I've talked with him behind the scenes several times, but this is the first time on my stream. And if I remember correctly, he is our resident Canadian hater of the band Rush, Functional.
Yeehaw! Yeah, I admit I do not like that Canadian export too much. How are you doing, Bloodwing?
Yeah, it's. I mean, you're welcome to your opinion, even though you're wrong.
I would never deride someone for their personal tastes.
Yeah,
except for the football. I'll keep giving you a hard time about the football.
Well, I try not to go off on that too much. It's hard though, because you don't understand. I am a huge fan of the NFL. So it's hard not to talk about the things that you really, really like.
Especially in today's age where everything is becoming hyper politicized.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mama Minnie out there in the chat. Hey, baby. Thank you for the donation, Cryptic. And my chat is running slow. There it is. There we go for the donation. Who let the old man out now? Fire him. Aren't you funny? But hello to Vanilla Bear and everybody else out there in the chat.
Hello, chat.
Yeah, if I tried to name all of you off, I'd forget somebody, and then they'd be butt hurt, and I don't want to do that. So hello, everybody.
Well, if I did it, I would have to yell out everybody's name. And I remember how that worked for Monkey. So.
And and another one. Thank you, Cryptic, for the donation. Functional and I do sound similar. Dang it. Well, except he does pronounce his R's and so forth correctly. So.
And he doesn't envision his cat as a yummy, tasty treat.
Sometimes I do nibble the ears.
Love you, Cryptic. You know that. Hey, Vanilla. How's the old man? Yeah. So I'm going to get this out of the way because, I'm sure people are going to be interested what's happening with the channel since I've started work and where we're at and everything. And I'll try to get this out of the way because I'm sure nobody wants to spend the whole stream talking about what I'm doing. But, I'm sorry to hear that, baby. Is she sick and trying to suck down soup? Chicken soup, I hope. Yeah, I have now finished my training period, which means I won't be on a full-time schedule anymore. I'll be more part-time. So that will mean more time for making content. Now, there still won't be a Redneck Trek this Sunday because, well, I've just got off another full-time week and I just haven't had time.
So I'm getting this one out of the way because I don't want to blame this on Cryptic, but the minute you said chicken soup, I'm like, well, it's better than some young guy, and I'm like, it's not his fault. It's not his fault.
She says homemade chicken soup. Oh, and I've had her chicken soup. It's good. Vanilla says Alex is still good working on his mega long reaction video. Yeah, I've heard about that. Oh, and thank you, Diesel Dave, for the donation. I'll take my ribs, mashed potatoes, and asparagus. Well, you just do that, you doof. I mean, I logged in, and the first thing I see is him talking about his food. Now I'm hungry. Thanks to you, Diesel Dave. And thank you again, Cryptic, for the donation. It's something Wong, Jen.
Isn't it something?
Yeah, it's cream of some
Come
young
on,
guy
Clip
is
Dick.
what I was told. But they were asking for something different. So
But anyway, yeah, I'm done with the full-time weeks. So I'll be on more part-time schedules. So starting this coming week, I'll be able to get back to more content. They have changed my schedule. I'm not going to be able to stream on Tuesday because I have to close on Tuesday. What I'm thinking of doing, however, is maybe streaming on Wednesday instead. And I'm not 100% positive I'm going to do that, but I'd say I'm 95% sure I'm going to do that. So be on the lookout for that. Which brings up the point that I'm probably going to have to start rotating my streaming days because my schedule will not be set in stone. My schedule will rotate each week. In other words, if you close on Saturday, for instance, you won't have to work the next Saturday. You'll close on a different day.
oh, that's nice.
I have to close on Sunday tomorrow. So hopefully I won't have to close on the following Sunday. But on those Sundays that I have to close, we close at 5:00, which means I get out at about 5:30 because you have to count your drawer down and lock everything up and all that business, you know. But I only live like literally 2 minutes away from work.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Happy birthday, Vanilla Bear. I know it's yesterday, but I missed it. So.
yeah, I'll take a piece of that cake. And thank you, Diesel Dave, for the donation. Still have to wait 6 hours. Well, you ought to for making me hungry. Doggone it. You just wait your 6 hours. But anyway, I'll try to get this out of the way and out. I will get back to more to doing content again. I will be streaming hopefully 3 times a week, but the days might not stay the same as they are. And I hate that. That drives me nuts. I like to be regimented. I like to be the same time, same days, all the time. But with the schedule I got, I just don't see that happening. So be aware the days may rotate now and again. But I will be getting back to it. And even though there won't be a Redneck Trek tomorrow, this Sunday, there definitely will be next Sunday. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, okay. VB says Alex can come on in an hour's time. So
okay.
Just,
Well, we should still be going by then, unless some technical difficulty happens. And
that Wojcicki algorithm might be coming for you, Bloodwing.
Yeah. So on the days, I'll get this out real quick. On the Sundays that I do have to work, I probably won't get home until 5:30, which is my regular premiere time. And if that happens, I'll just push it back to 5:45 or 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So it'll still happen just slightly later.
The best time zone, by the way.
Yep. Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, everybody else bases their stuff on us. And that's true. If you notice when people are giving out what time something is, Eastern Standard Time is the first time they get out there.
It's easier for me actually, because then I have a little bit of time beforehand to, it just means I have to get up early.
RJ Bansman asked, did I hear about Jimmy Johnson? I haven't heard about anything. I have been so out of the loop the last 2 weeks, focusing on work and trying to learn this, everything that I need to learn about this new job and everything. I am totally out of the loop. I don't know anything that's happened or maybe just the barest of stuff. I do try to log in on Twitter in the mornings for just a few minutes and try to catch up. But yeah, that's just the way things have been for me.
Yeah, sometimes real life happens and, you got to take care of it, nip it in the bud, and then get back to your regular schedule.
Yeah. It's been an experience.
And it's been an empty void the last 2 weeks without you, Bloodwing.
Yeah. Oh, I know. And I come home, and while I'm working, I have to, maybe I'll stream when I get home, or maybe I'll work on Redneck Trek when I get home. And by the time I get home and my recliner sucks me in, that all goes out the window.
Yeah, you just kind of unwind from the day and just pass off into La La Land eventually.
Well, my body's usually hurting really bad by the time I get home because I'm just not. It's really soft. I've been out of work for 4.5 years. The only reason I'm able to get back to work is because of the surgery I had in March. So my body's really soft. And even though there's nothing really hard about my job physically, I am on my feet for that 6, 7, 8 hours that I'm there.
Yeah, and I don't care what anybody says. As a former chef, if you're on your feet all day, that is hard work.
Yeah,
it's not generally thought of as, but yeah, if you're standing on your feet for 8 hours a day, it is hard work.
And the hardest thing physically on me, and I don't know why this is, but the hardest thing physically on me is before closing, we have to sweep the place. Run a sweeper over it. And my God, running that sweeper just absolutely kills me. Don't know why, but it does.
It's probably because you've been standing all day, your legs are kind of like tensed up, and then now you're having to do a little bit of bending and stretching as you're pushing it along.
Yeah,
probably exacerbates that tension that's built up over the workday.
Yep. But I have learned the things I don't like. One of the things I really don't like, and my daughter, Mama Minnie, could understand this because she used to be manager in a gas station change, is counting the cigarettes. Counting the cartons is easy. You have to do it at the end of every shift. Counting the cartons is easy, but you have to count the individual packs too. And this is a smoke shop. So there are lots and lots of individual packs.
I remember that.
If we close at 7, I have to start my count at 6. And, you have to stop counting when you get customers in. You got to help them. If they're buying out of the racks that you already counted, then you got to go back and fix that count.
Do you have like pods for those? Because up here, our smokes have to be hidden from view. So, it could be a convenience store. Everything is behind either like curtains or like plastic screens.
Our cigarette racks are behind the register, right behind the register, and they are in full view.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Diesel Dave, for the donation. Try sitting on your butt 11 hours a day. Done that, been there, got the T-shirt, Diesel Dave.
Yeah, one of the things we did to make it easier is we would just do the counts by unit. So, like, if you knew that like this counter had so many, on it, you would just count that part of it, and then that way at the end, all you had to do was count up each individual pod. So it wasn't as that way you could stop and go serve customers and not interrupt your.
Well, our biggest business by far comes from selling individual packs and lottery tickets.
Yeah.
I mean, we do massive business on lottery tickets. It's just huge, and it doesn't help that we're right next door to a Redneck bar. And if you think I'm kidding, the bar's name is the Big Dog Saloon. We're not just right next door. We share a wall. It's in a little small strip mall. There's us, then there's the bar, and then there's the Family Dollar store. So we sell a butt ton of tickets. What amazes me, you get these half in the bag drunks from the bar. They'll come over and buy some lottery tickets. They'll go back. Then a half hour later, they're back buying some more. Then a half hour later, they're back buying some more.
Because after a few shots, you forget you bought your lottery ticket. And then you go, oh, man, I forgot to buy my lottery ticket.
If they get a winner, they come back and they spend the money on that winner on more lottery tickets.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what's the point?
Yeah. I had a rule for me because with where I first worked selling lotto, I was just a lucky little shit. So more often than not, I was the guy who would come back with the $50, $100 win. So my rule was like, if I won $50, I was allowed to spend $10 on tickets. It was like, you just put a little bit more in the chance that maybe I get lucky again. If it was $100, I was allowed to do 20. But after that point is like everything else goes back into the pocket because, I didn't have a lot of money back then either. So it was just kind of like, oh, look, I can treat myself to like maybe a pizza night or something. And then maybe an anime or a couple of mangas. A lot of people don't do that. It's the same with working at a casino. Like you really know who you're dealing with when somebody has a pouch that they can't enter into.
Yeah.
Because they
But-
put their winnings in there and then they'll just keep a separate side one for like the stuff that you're willing to put back in.
We have our regular customers that come in with their little lottery pouch. That's exactly what it is. And you can pick them up at the lottery stands where you can fill out your tickets. And I wished everybody would just fill out those tickets and give it to me,
Mhm.
because then all I got to do is scan it through the lottery machine and it automatically spits out what they want.
Yeah.
But only about half of them do that. That's one of the
The other half
main
want you
reasons.
to do it.
Yeah, that's one of the main reasons I hate doing lottery, because I don't play the lottery, so I don't know the lingo. And lottery
Mhm.
players have their own lingo,
They
and
do.
they start spitting out all this stuff like, I want this with this and this and this and this, and I want this with these numbers, and they spit it out all at once, and you're like, whoa, one at a time, one at a time.
Slow it down for me.
It's even better when it's the sports lotto, not even just like your standard. Okay, like for us, it's like 649 or the Lotto Max is the big ones up here.
Mhm.
But then you've got a lot of little guys. So like you're trying to memorize the little no-name lottos that nobody plays, but like maybe the odd
Well,
grandma, and you're like, what?
Here where I live in Indiana, there is like, oh my gosh, there's probably close to 24 lottery games. That's counting all this. Well, that's not even counting the scratch offs.
Yeah.
This is just the where they pick numbers and stuff
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
And some of those are broke down into little mini games within those. And they're all run by the Hoosier Lottery Commission. They're all run by that. And the lottery machine is not exactly user friendly. It's extremely easy to make a mistake by hitting the wrong button.
Mhm.
And it's just, oh, I hate doing the lottery because they are a breed unto themselves. And the ones that play it constantly all the time can be little buttholes if you make a mistake.
Oh yeah.
I'm so proud of you, Bloodwing. You're already bitching about work. It's great.
Well, I love the
No,
people I
I
work
know.
with, and I love what I do. I do because, man, I've been a smoker for 47 years, so I understand smokers,
Mhm.
you know. And I'm a joker, and I could shoot bull with the next, somebody comes in, I was like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? Whether I've seen him before or not, that's just the kind of person I am. But yeah, I don't like doing the lottery. I hate it.
Now I know you guys have like the warning labels on your cigarette packs, right?
Yep.
And that's what, half? I don't know. I'm not too familiar with the changes in recent years to your
Yeah,
tobacco.
Most cigarettes packs will have, and the cartons too, will have warning labels on the outside.
Okay. Because recently up here, they've gone full tilt into the plain black packaging,
Mhm.
plain black or white or gray lettering that says the brand name, and that's it.
Yeah.
And it gets confusing because if I go and reach for the wife's cigarettes, we smoke different brands. It's sort of like, and fire it up. I'm like, oh my god, what? Why?
Oh, so that reminds me. Speaking of that, Marlboro. Oh my gosh, Marlboro has so many different types of cigarettes now that every time somebody says, "Well, I want a Marlboro Smooth in the menthol in the 100s," and I have to look through and say, okay, and verify with them, this is what you want. Because I swear to God, Marlboro has like 15, and I'm not exaggerating, 15 different types of Marlboros. When in my day, there was either just Marlboro Reds or menthol. That's what you had.
Yeah. I have fond memories of those Marley Reds back in the day.
And yes, and Mama Minnie started it. I see the chat has picked up on the whole Joker, smoker, midnight toker thing. Thank you. And that's the other thing that the people that I work with have had to get used to is I'm a singer, and there's a stereo going the whole time I'm in. Our whole smoke shop kind of has the old head shop vibe. There's music playing all the time, rock music, and
Oh, that sounds so fun, actually.
classic music. And we do sell glassware, which is what we have to call it. But what it is bongs, pipes,
Pipes,
one
other
hitters,
paraphernalia,
grinders, all that stuff. We also sell vapes and vape supplies, cigars. We have a huge cigar section with with 3 big humidifier
Humidors.
humidors, but they've got a humidifier in the bottom that we've got to keep filled with water.
I'm a
And
big fan of good cigar.
And the whole back wall is covered with bulk tobacco for those like me that roll their own.
Yeah, you and Alex actually got me started on rolling my own. It's become a lot more cost effective, and I like the ritual behind it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, my one of my friends knows a site where you can just literally get the leaves. They send out the pre-cured leaves, and all you have to do, like I mean, you might get a shredder for it, but you could shred it yourself. And it's all of it down, like, you know, you could literally use it to roll if you decide you want more like a cigar, or you can just shred it to make your own cigarettes. But it's just significantly cheaper because you're doing all the actual work for it. But it's as clean as you're going to get. Like, you're not going to get anything cleaner than that.
But like I say, though, there's a stereo going that's playing classic rock. It's set to one of the classic rock stations here in town. And like the other day, I was ringing a guy up as a black guy buying some cigars, actually. And I was sitting there, and I forget what song was playing, but I was singing along with it. And I looked up, and he's smiling. I was like, "I'm sorry. That's just I can't help it. That's what I do." He goes, "It's cool. At least it was a good song."
Nice.
But yeah, I do like what I do. There's some things of it I'd rather not have to do, like count the cigarettes. And just to give you some, for those of you that have never done it before, like Mama Minnie and you said you did, Jen. To get, and this is a smoke shop, so this is what we do. We have 2 large racks with 10 rows in each large rack, and each row might have 100+ packs in it.
Yeah,
and I have to count them all individually.
Yep.
At the end of every shift, and I'm like, ah.
You got to take the bad with the good.
Yeah,
it's good. It's rare enough when you find something that you actually enjoy showing up to work for.
Yeah. Thank you, Diesel Dave, for the donation. Probably 0 people listen. Most of them don't pay attention, or they sing along with me. Honestly. But yeah, I
Shield
do.
Gorath likes the large racks.
Yeah. Not that kind of large rack. But yeah, I do like it. Another uncomfortable thing is the actual, this is part of a chain. The store that I look for, it's actually a chain of smoke shops around town and around central Indiana. I'm not sure if it's in other states or not. It might be. It's called Low Bob's. But the headquarters is right up the street, like just a mile up the street.
Well, that's handy for the store.
Well, yeah, but it's not handy if you get caught making a mistake, because you don't know all the big wigs that work in there, and they are known to just come in, incognito.
Just to see what you're doing.
Yeah, I ran into that the other day. One of them was standing outside our glass window watching me. And we have like 8 cameras around the store, and they are connected to our feed. So I learned that they actually have people that are constantly watching the stores through their camera feeds. I'm like, okay, well, that's good to know.
For them, a lot of it has to do with, and I'm not saying this to you, I'm just saying based off of my memory of working there, it's a high theft place because smokes are really easy to hide.
Oh, yeah.
And same with Lotto. Lotto is one of those things, like the minute you print out a ticket, it's good.
Thank you for the donation, Dave. I thought you'd get that listening to 95.5. It's not Q95, but I forget the name. WJGQ or something. I don't know what the call numbers are on it, but where it is on the dial, my wife listens to it sometimes. But it's not a bad station. They don't play the really heavy stuff sometimes from the 70s, but a lot of stuff from the 70s. It's an enjoyable station. I can usually find a song to sing along with.
That makes it a good station.
Yeah.
I found that modern radio stations, if you find, maybe half the music, then maybe I would have listened to it. But yeah.
Yeah. Actually, you mentioned that, Jen, though. We had to move our lottery tickets to behind the counter. It used to be on a display that was on top of the counter because just shortly before I started, some punk come in, grabbed the whole display,
Yep.
and ran off with it.
Oh,
That's what
geez.
they do. Like
With the
we,
scratch
we
off.
we had issues with like you turn around to go grab something. Like they'll go in as like either single people or they'll go in as like a group, and they'll have one distract you. So when they turn around, somebody just reaches over and yoink.
So we had to move the what holds the rolls, because they come in these big rolls of scratch off tickets behind the counter where people can't reach it. So, which is kind of a pain in the butt because it's underneath the counter, so I have to bend over. People come up. Well, give me 5 number 28s, 2 number 32s, and so I'm all bent over pulling these out. Thank you for the donation, Diesel Dave, WZPL. Yeah, I'm very familiar with that station as well. But that's not the one that the place I work. I can't remember. It's one my
Chad's
wife.
trying to guess.
Yeah. Well, Diesel Dave, I do believe is from Indiana as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mama Minnie, you got it. 104.5
104.5.
WJJK. Yeah, that's it. But anyway, I do enjoy that part of it. Enough about me, but there is a connection to something that I do know that's current that's going on. We've all heard about, them trying to get rid of flavored cigarettes and flavored vapes, and they're now including menthol into that.
Yep.
We now, anytime somebody buys a menthol product, whether it's a menthol pack of cigarettes, a bag of menthol tobacco, or a menthol vape, we have to hand them a flyer now explaining that they're trying to get rid of menthol, and here's who you can contact if you don't want that to happen. So
that's so ridiculous.
Yeah,
it really is, and their argument is a non-starter because if they're going to apply that same logic to other products, which a lot of people already have, most commonly alcohol, then you know what? Get rid of the cotton candy flavored vodka. Mm-hmm. If that's your logic, if kids are going to be excited by these flavors, no, you treat it like any other regulated product and keep kids as safe as you can. Put the age restriction and treat it like any other restricted product. You have the taxes, you have everything in place. Vaping should, even though it's not as dangerous as smoking, should still be under the pretty much the same regulations.
Well, it contains nicotine. So if
exactly
that fact alone, sure, it should be regulated somewhat.
Yeah, nicotine's a drug. I mean, the harm reduction in specifically vaping is just that you're not ingesting smoke.
Thank you, Diesel Dave, for the donation. Nope, Illinois, but I worked in Indiana for 20 years. Okay. Yeah.
It's kind of one of those ironies with smoke, in comparison to other things that you would be worried about your kids getting their hands into.
Yeah.
Like liquors being like the most comparable to the two, because like that's pretty much the competition. So, there's some people who lock up their booze and there's some people who don't. Nobody locks up their cigarettes. So here's the thing. You go to a store and you buy your smokes and you go home and you've avoided all the advertisements. Chances are good your kids don't care and they're going to smoke it anyway. If they decide that like they want to do something, they're going to do it anyway. So most kids who started smoking didn't smoke flavored cigarettes.
No, I stole my auntie's regulars, bitch sticks. Those long, thin ones.
Yeah, we still sell a few of those 120s.
But that's how I started. I literally would take a few here and there out of her pack. Yeah,
I've been smoking for 47 years, and I started by stealing cigarettes out of my dad's Winstons.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't buy them. Although when I was a kid, you could go in a store and buy cigarettes for your parents. They didn't care.
Yeah,
or just tell them it was
but they kind of had to know. Yeah. Like I know my local bodega, they knew my father and they knew he was a smoker, and so when I showed up with a letter, like a little scratchy note from my father, he'd be like, "Oh, okay, yeah," and I wouldn't even have to ask for them; they knew, and they would hand me his brand.
That's not happening today because I know and they're there's no tolerance. If you get caught doing it, you're immediately fired. And because it's state law, if if a person is 40 or younger or looks 40 or younger, you have to get their physical ID and you can scan it into the register.
Yep.
You can actually scan the back of there's a
Oh, that's
barcode.
new. Okay.
There's a barcode on the back of their driver's license, and you can scan that, and the register automatically knows if they're old enough or not. And that's 40. Now, I would have thought they'd went for a more, like maybe 30.
Yeah, we don't have that yet.
But it's 40.
Yeah.
And if they catch you not doing that, there's no tolerance. You're fired.
Yeah,
That's
I
it.
mean, we still have the barcodes in the back of the cards, but we haven't gotten to that point yet. But that's actually a really good idea, because then it's not personal. A lot of the training is how to keep it impersonal when you're telling people, no, I can't sell this to you, because sometimes the person could be of age. But if they don't have the card, it's like, I can't sell it to you, buddy. I know you're probably old enough and legal enough to buy it, but
My hands
unless
are tied.
you have the card, I can't do it. So
because at that point it becomes your ass.
Just yesterday, I had just that situation. An old man, probably about my age, and a young girl who looked to be about 18. Around that area, come in the store. Now, if they look like they're 18 or younger, you have to card them as soon as they walk in the store, because they're not allowed to be in there.
Yeah.
No one under 18. My wife was thinking about bringing my granddaughters up to visit me at work. I said, you can't. They can't come in.
They can't come in, yeah.
Yeah. They come in the store. And I asked the young girl, even though she was with the old guy, I said, do you have ID? And she says, no, I don't have any on it. I'm like, I'm sorry, but you have to leave. You can't be in here. Well, the old man stayed behind and bought cigarettes. And I know good and well they were for her.
Mm-hmm.
But he gave me his ID and yada, yada. So, yeah.
Up here, we can't even do that. The minute one of you doesn't have ID, we're not allowed to sell to them. It was probably the biggest argument ever for us was like, you'd have the odd guy who was like, well, then I'll just purchase it for them. And you're like, no, we can't legally do that. If you get caught on the street, even if she's legal, if she doesn't have that ID, you're still going to get fined.
Yeah, I don't understand why anybody's going around with that ID anyway. And I asked my boss that. I said, who leaves the house without ID? And of course, I'm a guy, so I carry a billfold. I've always got my ID with me. But she says, well, she says, if I don't need to buy anything, I don't leave with mine. But I still why would you not?
You should always,
You should. Well, what if you're in an accident?
Exactly. As a safety precaution, they need to be able to identify you. The quicker, the better, so that they can get in touch with the appropriate people. They can bring up your medical history, these kinds of things. It is, a preventative measure. But yeah, like you said, Blood, everything and the next thing these days require ID.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing up here that might take you a little bit of time is if you're getting your your ID renewed. It's a 2-week period where they send out the card. I think it's shorter now. I think it's down to a week now. But I mean, they give you a little bit of a paper receipt so that if you get stopped by a cop, it's like, listen, I'm in between.
And I had just that situation because it's the same here. But before I get to that, I want to address something. Grill and Pirate Pieces Target uses something similar for their booze. The register won't let you ring someone up until you scan their license. Could be a gray hair granny. Have to scan ID. Register won't go any further. That's pretty much the way the register works where I work. Once you scan a tobacco product, it immediately pops up. What is their birthday? Yeah. You can't get past it. Mm-hmm. You can't get back. In fact, I got in a little bit of trouble because on a few of them, I was putting my own birthday in because we got these two old guys. There's two of them that they're just being little buttheads. They're older than I am. Yeah. I mean, obviously, but you ask them for their birthday and they never give you a straight answer. It's just some, 1892, because they're just being little buttheads. So I was putting my own birthday in just so I could get past that part. Well, then corporate said, why is his birthday popping up so many times? So, okay, I can't do that anymore. But here in our state, when you go for a license, they used to, they had the little machines to make your license right there on the spot and give it to you. But they don't anymore. They give you a copy, a photocopy.
A temporary, yeah.
And you can't scan that because the barcode's on the back and they don't photocopy that. And I had just that happen. A guy come in, he's got the ID, it checks out, but I can't scan it. So I had to ask my boss, what do I do in this case? Because you can't scan it into the register. So she said, well, in that case, you just hold it up to the camera because corporate's watching.
Yeah.
And then enter the birthday. So, okay. But yeah, it's been an eye opener since I've went to work there. Just all the rules and the laws and everything that's, I was aware of some of them, of course. And most people will, especially if they're older or if they're near 40, most people are actually flattered that you asked for their ID.
Yeah.
Of course, you've got those one or two morons that are like, well, of course I'm 40. Don't I look 40? What I got, you've always got those.
Right.
buttholes.
Yeah.
But most are like, well, thank you.
Yeah, I know, like me, I'm a hair away from 40. I have a younger looking face. So
Yeah.
if I'm clean shaven, because there's some gray in my beard, if I'm clean shaven, I get carded all the time for booze, for cigarettes, whatever. And I don't get offended, but I'm not flattered either. It's more just kind of a hassle, like, yeah, okay, here you go. And then they look at my ID, they look at me and they're like, holy shit.
Yeah. And we've got those. And a lot of those, we've got the ones that come in and they've already got it out and say, I already know the drill. Here you go.
Yeah, exactly. We're used to it.
And, because how big is a deal is it to just reach in and get your driver's license? Come on. It's
exactly, Pete. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's chips and holograms and stuff they have to ingrain into everybody's license so it can't be instant anymore. And, I understand all these regulations and everything because as a smoker, and as you guys can probably attest to, and any other smoker can relate to, if you get them young, they're going to be, the chances of them being a smoker for a majority of their life is a good bet, and they want to try to nip that in the bud for public health, but it can be a little annoying.
But at the same time, though, you realize that most of those regulations tell you just how good kids are at getting the smokes.
Thank you, Diesel Dave, for the donation. I'm 42 and still get carded. Yeah, I've got a very young looking face. You can't tell it now, but if I was to shave off the beard, in fact, most of the people, I get this all the time because even if you're old and you're obviously old, I have to at least ask for your birthday.
Yeah.
Because I've got to get past that screen.
Yeah.
And they'll give me their birthday and it'll be like 1964 or something. And then they'll say, well, I'm old and everything. I'll say, oh, really? I'm older than you. And then, well, like, you just made my day because you don't look that old. Yeah, it's been an eye opener. But the menthol's not, and flavors is not why kids are getting started.
They're not. No,
it's like you say, if they're going to start smoking, it's because they're stealing their parents' cigarettes. That's what we all did.
And no kid was happy to smoke a menthol. Let's be real. If your parents were smoking menthol and that was the first one you toked on, chances are good you're like, that's nasty. Because menthols are like something you smoke for a while to get used to.
That's
while,
racist, Jen.
Well, for a while, I smoked menthols when I was in high school, and the only reason wasn't because I liked them, because there was an urban legend going around that if you smoke menthols, non-smokers can't smell it on you.
Oh, I've heard that one.
So that's the only reason I was smoking them. But it's like, and you said that's racist. We've got Newports, menthols, in our store, and I rarely sell them. And like one of the customers said when they come in, this is the hood, but this is the wrong hood for that, because historically Newport menthols are smoked by black people. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And, we also sell Cools, which is also got that reputation.
Yep.
But we sell a butt ton of a brand called LD, and that's because they're the cheapest cigarette in the store. I think they sell for like $3.62 after tax for a pack.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm just like, wow, that's something. I'm like, the cheapest ones up here are still like 13, 14 bucks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
here the cheapy brands are like
Well,
15, 16 bucks.
We're a little luckier than some states because our excise tax isn't as hefty as some states. For instance, a pack of Marlboro Reds, which is going to be your highest cost cigarette, is a little over $7 after tax.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not as badly hit by the excise, but we've got it. The first couple of days I was working, the girl running the register, who isn't much older, she's like got hired 2 weeks before I did. So anyway, she ran across a customer that was giving her a bunch of crap because he came in with a coupon that said $1 for a pack of Winston's. Well, if you read the fine print, it says before tax.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Real quick before I get into that, thank you, Diesel Dave, and it's not popping up quick enough on and Owen Harmon. Diesel Dave for the donation. I started on non-filtered Camels to help my lungs in the winter. Believe it or not, it helped. Yeah, well, I can get that. I've smoked non-filters.
Yeah.
And thank you, Owen Harmon. Every now and again, my mate and I will go drinking and buy a pack of Red Luckies. We're classy around here. Anyway, when she rang it up, she used his coupon. It came out to $1.40, and he's pitching the royalist fit. No, this is $1, and there's no way the tax on that is 40 cents. And we finally explained it to him. Look, you don't understand. There's also excise tax that the state charges. And it doesn't matter what the cost of the product is. If you're selling a pack of cigarettes, here's your excise tax on a pack of cigarettes. That's what it is, regardless of the brand and regardless of the cost. This is what it is. And you've got to pay that. That's why cigarettes are so expensive.
And one of the biggest contributing factors up here to your neighbors to the north, obviously we have nationalized healthcare. So there's that, sort of healthcare tax because you're consuming something that's demonstrably bad for you. So you're going to pay for it. And, when I first started buying cigarettes, it was like, okay, that kind of makes sense. But since I started, the cost of even, your lowest cost brands, it's 3 times the amount. It's literally ballooned 3 times the amount because of the ever increasing taxes. And a lot of people, they just don't realize that, the product itself doesn't cost very much. Nope. It's all those taxes that they just lump on top of it. And I know that, in some places there's just so much regulation and so many different taxes that they just pile up on each other, and that's how you get away. That's how you get a, $20 pack of cigarettes, $30 pack of cigarettes.
Yep,
ridiculous.
Faithless asks, is GPC still a cigarette brand? I believe it is, but we don't sell it. We do not sell the GPC, but there's a lot of brands that we do sell that I do recognize, and there's brands that are classified because not only do I got to count the cigarettes, I have to separate them into what's brand and what's generic. Which is not as easily done these days as it used to be. For instance, Pall Malls have been around since before I was born, but technically they are now a generic cigarette. You just got to classify it out. But menthol's not, and flavored cigarettes are not the reason kids are getting started. It's because they're stealing whatever their parents smoke.
Yeah,
pretty much. If they're not getting it through their parents, they're getting it through that one kid who's just old enough to get them.
Yeah,
or that one friend who's got a brother who's just old enough to buy them or something and is willing to do that. Yeah, I did that for, in high school. I bought when I became of age, I bought cigarettes for my friends and stuff who were just about underage.
Yeah. I was that guy in high school because I've had a full beard pretty much since I was a junior or senior in high school. So I was that guy, even at 18, that could walk into a liquor store and probably get liquor, unless they carded me. But yeah, I would often go in and buy for other people. It happens.
Yeah.
Maddie says the cheapest cigs out there are OPCs. The only problem is you never know what kind of cigs you're going to get. Yeah, other people's. Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, up here you get native reserve brand cigarettes that are dirty but cheap. Oh my
Yeah.
God, you could pay like $15 for a carton.
And here, where like I said, this store is in my neighborhood. It's only literally 2 minutes away. I can get there in 2 minutes from my home. And you all know, I've said it many times, I live in a redneck ghetto. It's the hood. And you can always tell the last couple of days, I figured there must have been a big shipment of meth come in, because we've sold a heck of a lot of pipes and screens in the last couple of days.
And your state is not one of the ones that's legalized marijuana yet, has it?
Not yet.
Okay. Yeah, so then that does stand to reason that, it's probably meth or something.
It will probably be one of the last ones to do so. It's just a very, very red state.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
I do see more and more Republicans of note, being a lot more flexible on the issue, and more flexible in talk, and especially younger commentators being more open to talking about that issue.
Well, I'm a conservative.
And then you have someone, I know. And then you have someone like Joe Biden saying, "Oh, it's a gateway drug." Like, dude, are you from this? Like, are you still stuck in the 80s? Like, what's going on here, old man?
Yeah. First of all, Elwin, good luck. Good luck to quitting.
Seriously. Good luck. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a conservative. I'm about as conservative as you can get on most issues. But on the marijuana issue, look at all the tax money you're missing out on, you morons. Jesus.
Yeah. And if it's handled well, like Jen's province, they have, what is it, like a quarter of the population of my province, but are raking in 4 times the income in tax dollars from the legalization, because my province, Ontario, has just completely shit the bed and mismanaged.
We're a province of businessmen. Actually, I would say the biggest grief here with it is the fact that we still have to deal with the feds on it.
Yeah.
If we didn't have the federal fingers in every pie, and this is across the board for all of Canada, if they didn't stick their fingers in the pie, aside from the stuff that they need to, we would be a whole lot better than we are right now.
Because as far as I'm aware, there has been no definitive research that shows that marijuana is any worse for you than alcohol. Probably not as bad for you as alcohol.
To have an overdose on pot, you would have to be a small child eating a lot of candy. Because that's concentrated. That's concentrated. And
no, I don't smoke dope now because it's illegal. It's not worth it to me to risk breaking the law and getting caught. To smoke it. If they legalized it, I would probably try it to see if it helped with my pain. And our shop does sell what's that called? CDVs or
CBD?
CBD. Okay, I got it backwards. We do sell that for the vapes.
Oh, okay, that's good.
But
that's what I use for my pain and my joint inflammation. And it just like any other drug, it could work for you, it could not. It's very individual. But if you do get the chance, I would try it because it's done wonders for me.
Yeah. But marijuana, I mean, come on. You guys are missing the boat. You're missing a heck of a lot of tax money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least Trump has taken the steps to legalize industrial hemp.
Yeah.
Which is, part and parcel of the whole legalization and the income. That industrial hemp is so good and it's so versatile for so many different things. It will bring in millions, if not billions.
So I'm just going to respond to something that Faithless said a little bit earlier. And this isn't mean to you. It's just he thinks that cigarettes and alcohol are the real gateway drugs. I have to break it to you, but the real gateway drug is the kids. It didn't need to be alcohol. It doesn't need to be pot. It doesn't need to be cigarettes that gets you started on it. Usually a lot of kids who get into that kind of stuff already had problems.
Yeah.
They already have problems. If you're getting into something like that when you're that young, you're seeking attention from somebody. It might be your peers, it might be your parents, it might be anybody. But you're doing it because you're in a position where anyone who's going to offer you that attention, that's the actual gateway drug. It's not the actual booze, because the booze is just it's
It's a means to an end.
Well, that, and I would add to that peer pressure, because I know that was a big thing when I got into it as a teenager, was because everybody else was doing it. And it's like, I want to look cool. I don't want to look uncool. So yeah.
That's what I mean about the attention. Like it's you know, you might be seeking it from your peers because you want to fit in. You know, Elwin says it's self-medication largely, I think. It is.
Yeah.
It is. You know, I never got into any of that. The only thing I picked up was smoking when I was younger. I was probably about 16 when I did it, and I wasn't pressured into it. It was just I could smell it on the clothes growing up of other people who would smoke it. I would see them doing it, and I was just like, you know what, that's something that I really wanted to do. It was all on me when I picked up smoking. That's why I'm having such a hard time quitting it, because like I still love the flavor of it. I still like the smell of it.
Yeah. Let me break in here real quick, because you know how it works on this stream. There always comes a time when the old man has to go take a tinkle, and we have now reached that time.
Who had 50 minutes, Chad?
Yeah. Who had it?
We haven't done that in a while.
I'm doing the pee-pee dance in my chair now, so I got to go.
You do what you got to do then. And yeah, I just want to touch on what Mama Many said. Mental health is a gateway too, in my opinion, to drown the noise in your head. Yeah, and that's been sort of a truism all throughout human history, is that we've always found things to sort of enhance our escapism and to drown out some of that noise or take some of the edge off from, you know, simply just trying to survive as a species, whether it was, you know, early man trying to, you know, stave off the wild animals, or current man where we're just working, you know, 40, 50, 60-hour work weeks and just need to just sort of relax and unwind. And these substances, be it cigarettes, alcohol, marijuana, harder drugs, whatever. Yeah, that is a good tool to help you just release. It's just unfortunate that, you know, certain people, it's again, like I said, with the marijuana thing being a medication, it's not for everybody. So there has to be that sort of trial and error period. And it's unfortunate that some people do have that, whether or not it's personality or genetic, that predisposition to being an addict towards things. Because I'll admit, I've tried a lot of the harder stuff, and I just was like, nah, it's not really for me. Yeah. And luckily I didn't have that personality where I was like, oh man, I need more of this. Oh God, give me more. Like, and I've seen people in my life there that, you know, they tried something once, like blow, and they were just, they were hooked immediately from the get-go. And it's really sad.
It's kind of why I've always avoided those, you know.
Yeah.
I cut my line with the pot, because pot, I can quit pot. You know, I get cranky when I do, but, you know, if I go 3 months from now without pot, I'll probably be a miserable bitch for a week, and then I'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm the same. It's your body readjusting to a common chemical that you're no longer imbibing, and it can't produce itself.
Yeah. Whereas with other drugs that are habit forming, I was just like, no. You know, I saw myself with the smokes. You know, the only thing that I can say is, like, with booze, my system was like, nope, for me. But with everything else, it was just that temptation of something that could chemically make me more difficult to pull away. You know, like if I know that this is going to be more than just a habit to break, I wanted nothing to do with it. Whereas with pot, it's more just like, I like it. I like being a little bit stoned when I do streams, because I'm more relaxed.
I definitely prefer it to alcohol.
Yes. Oh,
even though, like, I'm, you know, 6 foot, a very skinny guy. I eat a lot.
Yeah.
I have that high metabolism, so that when I drink, I can drink like a fish and sober up very quickly. So it's kind of a double-edged sword.
Just wait, because I'm 6 foot tall.
Yeah.
I was always thin. Up until 50, I averaged around 140 pounds. so very thin. But after 50,
Oh yeah, I'm
not
getting
so
a
much.
little bit of a pouch. Yeah.
I now weigh about 180, and it's all in my gut.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm
Kyler put it
probably
exactly. I enjoy being under the influence, but I don't need to have it. That's
Yeah.
the kind of stuff that I prefer. Like
Yeah.
I enjoy the experience when I'm doing it, but I don't want it to be something that I absolutely need. Like that's kind of my argument with the pot right now with myself. Is
Yeah,
like,
because that's the line of addiction. Is if you need it, then it's an addiction.
Yeah.
If you enjoy it, that's a vice.
Yeah.
And as for me, I rarely drink anymore. I really, well, for one thing, it is an absolute fact, a proven fact that the older you get, the more susceptible to hangovers you are. So it's just not worth it to me. I can start drinking, and I love beer. I do.
Because
I'm
you're
one of them.
drying up, you're shriveling up.
Yeah, I'm one of them weird people that actually like to taste the beer, and I love it. But before I'm even finished with the first beer, I'm getting a headache, and it's just not worth it to me. Just not worth it.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Of course, it's been almost 40 years since I smoked pot, but I don't remember ever having a hangover with pot. The munchies, yes. Hangover, no.
And that seems to be like the worst effect is you get the munchies, you end up spending $40 at 7-Eleven and waking up the next day with like an upset tummy because you ate too much candy and chips.
So I'm just repeating this story to you real quick, Bloodwing, because it was one of those things where I was up too late talking to Elwyn, who is also Functional's girlfriend.
Oh,
and it was a lot of fun, and I think she was a little bit high off of his dank stuff, and I was a little bit like between being stoned and being overly tired. For some reason, I thought it was a good idea to send Blind Girl pictures of puppies because she was in the chat with us and she was asleep. And I was like, I'm leaving this poor girl out. She's so nice. I should send her some pictures. So I sent her these pictures of these puppies, and the next day she's just like, I can't see these.
Kyler says, "Good Lord, Bloodwing, I haven't weighed that little for an adult for years. If I get down to 180, you can see my ribs, dude. For me, that's heavy. That's the heaviest I've ever been in my life. I've always had a very, very fast metabolism. Wasn't that I didn't eat? I ate everything in sight, and I still do. But
as you get older, it slows down a bit.
My son, you all know J-Kid. You're at least familiar with or heard me talk about him, and some of you have actually talked with him. He's actually an inch taller than I am. He's 6'1" and weighs about 120 to 125 pounds. No joke.
Wow.
And he eats all the time. It's just, it runs a fast metabolism just runs in our family. It does eventually catch up to you. Like I said, my metabolism is not as fast as it used to be.
Sure, yeah.
It's all gathering around my middle. But yeah. And when I was a teenager, you know how it is when you're a teenager, you worry about how you look and, I'm too fat, I'm too skinny, I'm too ugly, whatever. And I'd ask the doctors about it. Look, why am I so thin? Because I would work out, I'd lift weights, and I'd get toned, but I'd still.
There was no mass. Yeah. Exactly the same way in BW.
And I, what's the deal? And he says, don't worry about it. You're perfect.
That's just your body type.
It's just how you are. So. Yeah.
I lean more heavy, and I can't blame my mom for this, but all that lovely German food that she raised me on, and heavy food.
Mama Minnie says it doesn't run in the whole family. I'm sorry, baby, that you took after your mom's side on that. I'm sorry.
But it's okay because guys like a little bit, a lot more junk in the trunk these days. So you're good, Mama Minnie.
Yeah. I wouldn't call Mama Minnie fat. She's a big girl in that she's 5'10". I think she's 5'10". Isn't it 5'10", baby? She's tall for a girl. Put it that way.
Yeah.
And if you looked at her, you wouldn't call her fat.
No.
You would call her maybe statuesque or something like that. Big girl.
Ooh.
I'm
getting the daddy compliments.
Like I lean more towards fat. If I eat too heavy for too long, it gains on me. So for me, it's more like I have to constantly remind myself to diet all the time.
I don't, in my opinion, of course, I'm probably biased. I don't have any ugly kids or grandkids. Not even J Kid.
Alex.
I can't call him ugly because he looks just like me. So identical to me. And Alex, give me a second and I will get that out to you, buddy.
And yeah, I mean, it is also a very big difference between men and women in that post-puberty, women, their bodies are more susceptible and intentionally try to put, excuse me, more weight, in certain areas.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's where mine went.
Yeah.
It's like, you got to have booty
So
in your trunk and you need to have a little bit of a love handle. I'm like, I don't mind having a little bit of those. It's just when they go over a certain point, I do the measurement scale. I don't even bother with the weight.
Look at this noisy fool.
I'm feeding back into somebody.
That's all right. He's plugging her in. Okay. There.
Well, how the hell are we?
Oh, my British son. It's been a long time, dude. Haven't spoke with you.
Well, how do? You're up, Bloodwing. How are you, man?
I'm tired, but making it. I've made it through the initial training period, so I guess they're keeping me.
Good.
And I have a key to the front door, so yeah, there's another sign.
Chat, our boys are growing up. They're getting out into the world and getting jobs.
I'm actually enjoying being out working again. I mean, it beats just sitting around staring at the wall.
Mm-hmm.
It does.
Good. Does. Congratulations. I'm really happy for you, man. I know this is what you wanted for a long time.
Yeah.
And you were losing hope.
Yeah.
But,
well,
good news, man. Good news.
Yeah. If it weren't for the surgery that I had in March, I wouldn't be able to. There's just no way I couldn't do it. Because this last 2 weeks of full time, because I've worked full time hours these last 2 weeks to train. I could have never made it through those 2 weeks before that surgery. There's no way.
Believe me, Elwin, if it worked that way, I would offer you some of mine and you'd be happy. Because I have a little bit to spare. I have another 40 pounds to go before I'm happy with where I'll be. But it's winter time in Canada. So my walks are every 2 days. And whenever they clean the sidewalks.
Yeah.
You're turning into a skinny mini, are you, Jen?
I'm trying. I just want to be more of a healthier weight. I'm not.
Well, you can't do that in winter.
I know.
Everybody gets fat in winter.
It's like yesterday I had a proper German meal for my mom. It's been like 10 years that my dad's been like, no, you can't have that. It's too heavy for you.
Yeah. Well, like I said, after 50, I started putting on weight, and it's now all in my gut. I have one of them physiques now where there's no way I could see my belt buckle.
You're just a walking pair.
It's just, yeah, my arms and legs are still scrawny. But yeah, absolutely no way I'm going to see my belt buckle. No way. But
I've lost so much goddamn weight that my underwear is falling down inside my jeans.
that happens to me. That happens to me every night and drives me nuts. I'm always hitching at my pants because I have this big gut, but I have to wear my pants below the gut because, you can't pull them up over your belly button.
It's a bit uncomfortable as well.
Yeah.
If you try and do that, like it doesn't feel right at all. Like, you need big underwear if you're going to do that.
Yeah. And of course, Mama Minnie has a point as well, especially for Americans. Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, impossible to lose weight. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We are now into our holiday.
But so yeah, you've got Thanksgiving too. So like, this is a fat part of the year for you guys.
It is a holiday. I know it's supposed to be a holiday where everybody's thankful. That's what it's about. But really, it's not. It's about eating all the food.
When is Thanksgiving?
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Yes.
Next Thursday.
Yeah. And
it's Black Friday the day after.
Yeah, that's why I think that's why we do ours earlier than yours. Just because it gives you that time period in between.
Yeah. And I have to work Black Friday. Have to close. Hopefully our shop won't be that busy though, since we just sell cigarettes and lottery. But you never know.
It's not a Walmart like with TVs on with 50% off. Like I think you'd be all right.
Yeah.
I love those videos, by the way. Like we
People
had one year in this country, 1 year where we decided, okay, it's time to adopt another American thing. We'll try the Black Friday violence. And we tried it, and we did it once, and it got really messy. We attempted it again the year after, but no one turned up.
How does that work when you're from a country that still queues?
Say that again. I don't believe I registered that.
How does that work when you come from a country that still goes into queues?
Oh, you should have seen it. You should have seen it. It was bedlam. I think that's the reason why we never did it again. Because we're British and we have our sensibilities, like queuing, for example. And it's not right to just dogpile each other like that.
Dogpile? Heck, it's a massive. They open them doors, and it's a wonder people don't get trampled to death on Black Friday around here. There is no way in heck you could not pay me enough to go shop on Black Friday.
Well, that's how we did it for a day. You had hundreds and hundreds of people, outside Asda, which is owned by Walmart, I believe, and they were queuing up at stupid o'clock in the morning. They let the doors open and, people were trampled on. I'm fairly sure people were given medals at the end of the day. And the following year, we just didn't do it.
Yeah, it's funny because up here we have Boxing Day, which is after Christmas. It's basically our Canadian version of Black Friday, and we've been doing that for decades now, and we don't really trample people.
You always get the cheap stuff on Boxing Day, though, don't you?
Canadians are all too nice.
But that's the thing. We cling on to our cousins from the UK and sort of have those sensibilities for the most part.
They have paintings of Queen Elizabeth around the country. That's actually a special mind control devices to ensure we don't completely lose grip of the Canadians.
Well, that's the money, Alex. It's actually microchipped into the money, so when you handle it, you say, "God save the Queen."
Mama
Why did I just say that?
Mama Minnie, you're not going to make it down for Thanksgiving? I was kind of hoping.
My sister.
Yeah, hope you make it for Christmas, though. Hope you make it for Christmas.
Hope you're good. I missed you, Bloodwing.
Well, you too, buddy. You too. I've been awful busy. Oh my God.
Well, that's fair though, mate. Like you've been training, which is like every day, isn't it?
Every Monday through Friday, 7 hours, sometimes 8 hours without a break. We don't get lunch hours. I eat my sandwich. I bring my sandwiches and I eat them standing up behind the register. Yeah.
Well, to be fair, like a lot of jobs that are like 8 hours, like a typical 9 to 5 or whatever, they'll have like a 45-minute hour lunch break and you won't get paid for that hour. So I hope you are getting paid for every single hour that you've been doing.
Oh yeah.
Good.
The weird thing for me is going to be this place doesn't pay with a check. And I know this has gone on in other businesses for a while, but they give you a debit card. Which your pay goes on that debit card. And I asked my boss yesterday because I didn't know. I said, well, first of all, I asked, what's the pay cycle? Because I hadn't asked that before. And they said, well, it's every 2 weeks. You should get paid next week because they don't hold back a pay period. I said, well, good. Okay. Secondly, will I get at least a pay stub so I can see what they took out in taxes and everything? And they said, nope, it's all online. So they give you this website that you have to log into to see what they took out of your paycheck. So.
All of mine is online as well. I have to log into the company website to see all the pay slip.
Yeah, and yes, Faithless, I can do direct deposit. It's just when I went and filled out all the paperwork, I did not have my bank account information. I will eventually switch over to the direct deposit.
It's a bit awkward though, isn't it? Is that normal then? Like to be given effectively a separate account so that they can pay you onto that card? Like you don't give them your bank details to just send you the money every payday.
Yeah, it just goes right on this card. It's a debit card, and it just goes right on.
Is that normal?
I've never heard of something like that.
Yeah, here in the States, this has been going on for the last few years. Different companies have been using it. I just had never worked for anybody that done it.
Why they do it?
I don't know. Of course, according to you have to go in. You know how it is when you get a new debit card. You have to activate it. Call the number or log into the website. And I went to activate.
Over here in the UK, we get given a card reader. And it's never good giving me that kind of technology because it's old. And I get really like, what am I supposed? I'm attempting to bash the keys with my elbows. It's really weird.
Okay, boomer.
Hey, no, I'm getting no. If anything, I'm being a boomer about boomer things.
Yeah. No, I get you.
Being a millennial. Where's the touch screen?
What is this strange device with a cord coming out of it? Why is that moving the cursor? Why can't I just touch the screen?
So, please continue. Sorry, I'm waffling on. Oh, has Blubbing died?
He might have.
Faithless says it's for far less
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, there
likelihood
he goes.
of stolen check and check fraud as well. Okay, so that's pretty good.
Yeah,
Well-
I mean, there also if to don my tinfoil hat for a second, it also seems that it's an easier way to transition away from hard currency so that everything's got a paper trail, or in this case, an electronic trail. They
I don't
can
think
track
any
everything.
proper job I've ever had has paid me in cash. I've had a few cheeky cash in hand jobs.
I
but
haven't
I don't
since
think,
like the 80s, yeah.
I don't think I've ever had a proper job that paid. I mean, even fucking YouTube pays it direct to your bank account.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, even in the 80s, I think one proper job I had, they did pay in cash, and then eventually it was checks. You would pick up your paper check and deposit it in your own bank account. And yeah, today with the technology we have, it's all just direct deposit, boom, boom, boom.
Well, I quite like the UK system for how we do things. So I know over in America, and I don't know if you do it in Canada, because the Americans, they do their own taxes, don't they? Whereas here in the UK, most businesses that you can go work for, and public services will put you on a PAYE, pay as you earn scheme. And effectively, what human resources will do is they'll pay you, and they'll do your taxes for you. So you'll pay I forget what the tax is called now, income tax, I think it is.
Yeah.
And the other one, national insurance. By the way, national insurance contributions is the welfare pot in the UK. I think some of it goes to like another thing. They also, because all businesses now have to abide by British law in contributing to your pension. So like you can sign up to it, and you pay like 3% of your wage, and it goes directly into your pension every time you get paid, and they pay into it as well, which is what I'm on as well. So that'll be paid. So when you get paid, that's all your money. You've netted it. You know, there's none of this having to do taxes malarkey, which is good because, like, I imagine in America, like your tax returns are probably a lot easier to do in the current year than what they were. Like 20, 30, 40 years ago. In the UK, it's called a self-assessment, and it's confusing as fuck.
I still don't know how to do my own bloody taxes. And here, you know, it's really at the discretion of the employer. I've had employers that will give you your net pay with no taxes taken off, and you have to do it all yourself. But more often than not, no, they do the base deductions, and then you at the tax time you do your individual income tax for the year. But yeah, more often than not, they take everything, you know, your pension, the welfare contributions, these kinds of things. Yeah,
it's just easier. Like,
yeah, I think so.
And plus, if you didn't have that, like, obviously it works out in other countries and stuff, but like in the UK, it's been that way for as long as I've been alive. And that itself gives people's jobs. So, you know, so I'm not exactly mad at the idea of it.
Yeah, whatever to make my life a little bit easier.
There's only a couple of issues with it. Like, if you start a job without what we call a P60, a P60 is your bank account and your tax information that's is sent out to you when you leave a job. Like if you left a job normally, you get given what's called a P60, and you give that to your new employer. And then they sort out your tax code for you as you begin the recruitment process if you get the job. If you go into a job and don't have a P60, you get given a P45 by HMRC, Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs. And you usually get put on an emergency tax code. And the emergency tax code usually fucks you hard, really hard, which makes it even harder for when you just start a job, you know?
Yeah.
It didn't happen with this one, so I was very, very happy about that. Very, very happy about that. Oh my God, we're doing a live stream where we're talking about taxes.
I know, right?
Yeah.
This is what's happened.
But it's
to me.
educational because we get to learn how different.
But well, to be
countries-
fair, like I could have done with this shit in school.
Ugh.
There
yeah,
it
it
is.
would be nice if they taught this shit in school.
Yeah,
You know
like
how
when
you
I was in
learn that
school, I
shit in
didn't
high
get.
school? You take the lower end math classes because that's all they teach you about.
No, but
Taxes.
this should be like in home economics, like
Well,
They should.
teaching
I
you.
didn't even have home economics as a choice in my
Yeah.
high school.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We had our own separate class. The boys did. They called it boys chef, but it was home ec. Was that one. Yeah, laptop crash, guys. Sorry about that.
At
did
least
as
it's
much.
not like a Google Hangout. Like, and the stream could have died.
Yeah.
Yep. What was I talking about? Oh, that card. Yeah, the last thing I remember hearing is you saying that in the UK they give you a card reader, and then I went,
Well, to be fair, like that's how exactly I kind of felt when I first saw a card reader. but I was just saying then, like, we're doing a live stream, we're talking about fucking taxes, but functional brought up at the point that it's educational, which it is because when I was in high school, we didn't have anything like home economics or anything like that. The closest thing that we had in my high school to like teaching you how to be an adult was the food technology they came to call it in later years. Stupid name for it. It's just cooking.
Yeah.
But like I could have done with learning how to iron, for
Yep.
example, and how to use a washing machine, and like how to fix a washing machine, or like basic vehicle maintenance, and how to set up a bank account, and how to use that, and how to protect myself from things like fraud. And you get where I'm going with it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just basic things that you need to know in the society in which you're being brought up.
Yeah, but Michael says teaching you how to be an adult. That's what
Yeah.
your parents are for. The thing is, mate, might I remind you of my generation, right? Might I remind you that millennials exist?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Because
And
our
my
parents-
mum was protective.
Yeah, I know that me personally, I am very fortunate to have had the parents that I had, because mom was like, from the time I was old enough to stand in front of the stove and see down into the pans so I wouldn't pull them down and burn myself on it. She taught me to cook because she said, you're not always going to have a woman around to take care of you. And she taught me how to wash clothes, how to sew, how to do all that supposed women's work.
Yeah.
But my dad also, from the time I was 10 years old, had me tearing down the lawnmower and overhauling it, or
This is what I
fixing
mean.
the washing machine, or
See, this is exactly what I mean. Like my mum she wasn't just overly protective, but like she was like autistic about that shit. I wanted to cook as a youngster, I wanted to do the dishes with her. I wanted to help, but the woman wouldn't let me.
Was she
and-
afraid that you were going to hurt yourself, or?
Yeah, like she thought I was going to
Oh.
burn the house down, but I'm like, Mum, you're right there. You could teach. You're a boomer. You should be teaching me these things. Like, come on. Like,
what's even
eventually,
worse
she
about
did
that,
teach me how
Alex?
to iron. Eventually, she did, right? And I'm very good at it. But everything else, I had to learn,
Yeah.
the hard way, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
I think the worst thing about that though is when you're already 38 years old and your mom's still like that. Like I probably could run circles around her when it comes to cooking, but when I go into her kitchen, she's like, "No, you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do this." I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I've worked with blowtorches before, Mom. I don't know if you know this, but I used to burn metal till it was liquid.
Boomer mums, Jen. They're like dragons on top of a nest. That's how they teach. That's how they treat their own kitchen. It's like you ain't doing anything in here. I'm like, can I use the microwave? Well, I suppose you can use the microwave, but you're not using my oven.
See, and then there's my dad who leveled us up because he was more than inclined to get us into trouble. Like the one time he broke my brother's because he had a what are they called? It wasn't a snow thing. It was more like a little buggy. And my dad had purchased him one for his Christmas gift and promptly broke it. So he built him one from scratch. And this thing was made purely out of metal, meant to go down a hill with two kids running it. And you could just imagine what that does when it hits somebody's fence.
yeah.
And yeah, Killer, in my high school, we also had industrial arts. We didn't have home economics, but we had the industrial arts, and it was cut maybe about 10, 15 years ago, which is really a shame because, yeah, those are kinds of things that I in my family and a lot of people I knew weren't going to get at home. They weren't going to get that just sort of base level education on how things like cars work, how things like lawnmowers work.
I could have done with that more than geography.
Faithless says too many parents did or do things for their parents instead of with their kids. Yeah,
and the opposite is true too.
In my
They
house,
did nothing.
In my house, I had no choice. There was no choice with mom. I was going to learn to do these things. And with dad, he didn't give me any choice. I can remember the first time, I had spent time watching him overhaul the lawnmowers. We were poor, so we had to make what we had work, even though it was old and tore up, right? And I'd spent a lot of time watching him work on the lawnmowers and on the car and on the washing machines. We had so many washer and dryer parts in our garage. It was ridiculous. But I didn't have any choice. There came a day, I can remember it very clearly. He brought the lawnmower out. It wasn't working. He goes, fix it, and left. And I was like 10 years old, and I'm like, okay.
The day Bloodwing became a man.
And I fixed it because I had watched him do it, And I hadn't just watched him. There were times where he'd hand me the screwdriver or the wrench or whatever. He says, okay, take this screw out or take this bolt out or,
Get you involved, give you hints.
Yeah. I didn't have a choice whether I wanted to or not. And I hated it as a kid. I did. I hated it. I didn't want to do it. But now I'm like, thank you, mom and dad, because that came in really handy in later life.
Oh, yeah.
This is what I'm talking about. Like both of my parents, my mum and even my dickhead dad, right, were both mechanically minded. My mum was in the Royal Logistic Corps in the army. She fixed Land Rovers and stuff. That bitch didn't teach me anything about that. Like my dad, like his main career after years after he left the army, because the moron left during a recession, was I suppose groundskeeper would be the word. So when you have a permanent resident in like a school, like a university or college, and they live there and they look after it. It's not called a groundskeeper. What is it called?
A custodial technician.
I like that. I like it because that's a bullshit title right there.
Well, that's the modern PC term that they use here in North America for basically, like a janitor or a groundskeeper. Yeah.
I forget what the term is in the UK for it. Wait, he did that. He lived in this actually quite large apartment that they provided him, and he would fix shit in there. And he'd clean it and all that kind of stuff.
Sort of like a building superintendent. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, and he could have taught me things. But no, he gave me beer at the age of 9 and let me access fucking pornography from a fucking early age and said, crack on.
The day Alex became a man.
I want to address
the day my mind was fucked.
Michael Weiner asked my daughter, Mama Minnie, did you ask? Because she was saying I didn't get a choice when I lived with them. She's talking about my parents. Lots of what I learned about cooking came from my mama, like how much I hate buttered beans. With my mom, Michael, there's no asking. She does the telling and you do the yes, ma'am. Trust me. Even though she's gone now, and I miss mom very much. There's not a day I don't get up, I don't miss my mom. But she was a tough old lady. And I loved her for it.
If my dad was still alive, I'd go and punch him in the mouth.
I don't blame you.
I legit would.
I think for me, it's more like with my brother and my and me and my dad. So between my dad, he's probably the smarter parent. Like in terms of knowledge, he's the smarter parent. My mom's more organized than my dad. So like I tried to follow my mom around in the hopes that, she would teach me a little bit more of that. And it just didn't work with me. I don't have that mentality that she has. My dad, on the other hand, I'm like, dude, if you'd actually just hung out with me more than Chris, just a little bit more, or at least brought me along, you probably would have had one kid probably exceed. Because I learned through visual. It's one of those things where I got lucky with my mom. Like, yes, she didn't let me do stuff, but she always had me in the kitchen watching her. I would follow her around and see what it was that she was doing. And, there was nothing that she did that I didn't figure out how to do. very quickly afterwards. And it was like, Dad, you realize that if you'd done the same thing with me, I would probably be a lot better off than I'm right now, because I would have done the same thing with him. Like, I go quiet when I'm learning, and I'll just sit there and listen to what you're talking about and watch what it is that you're doing. And then I'll go later and do it myself until I figure out exactly, the technique that you were using. It's like that with YouTube. Like, anytime I watch a video where they're instructing me on how to do something, it's just like, okay, well, if I have the funds and the means to do it, I can go off and do it. But I just, my dad was just like, well, you're not your brother.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd sit there and be like, okay, so listen, I was never intending to do half of the things he's doing because I know I'm not my brother. But even for the other half that you could have taught me, that's still a lot.
Boys and girls need to learn at least some of what the other traditionally, he says with air quotes, do. I mean, it wasn't just me. My sisters learned to work on cars, because that's the way it was. And when I first got married, within the first week of marrying, the first things I taught my wife was how to change a tire, how to change a headlight, how to check the oil, the transmission fluid, all this stuff. Because just because you're a woman doesn't mean you don't need to know how to do that. I don't want you broke down on the side of the road because you got a flat tire and you don't know how to change it.
Yeah, especially in recent times too.
Yeah.
Well, it's basic things like a barbecue. It's like, Dad, do you realize that somebody else is going to teach me when you're not the one teaching me how to use propane? Do you really want somebody else to teach me how to use propane, or would you rather be the one to teach me about propane?
Yeah.
Because
I had parents, as you said, functional. I like that term. I had parents, and I'm glad for it. Yes, they were tough, and yes, I didn't exactly like it all the time when I was getting taught. But I appreciate it now that I've become an adult. I appreciate what they taught me, and the fact that I turned out to be such a terrible teenager was not their fault, because they tried their best to teach me not to be. And I told them that after I grew up and got out of that, I said, that was not your fault, Mom and Dad. It was not your fault. You tried.
Yeah, like I said to Michael Weiner, like, my parents were complete assholes, so like I can empathize with Alex. And
I know Michael's in there going,
I was
the younglings always blaming their parents. It was their fault.
It is. They fricked me up. But luckily, I was fortunate because their friends, my other family, my aunt, they're the ones who would, when I showed that inclining to want to learn more about cooking, took me into the kitchen and would show me things, get me, mashing the potatoes or cutting the French fries or doing something while I'm watching to get that hands-on experience and everything. So luckily, I had other figures in my life to do that.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's one of those things that I talk to my mom about now. It's like growing up, the first job I had was handling food. And it's one of those things, Mom, if you'd let me handle knives, I would have figured out a lot sooner that the handle of the knife entirely changes how you cook food. Because when you work in retail, they give you the biggest, chunkiest knives that you could ever possibly try to hold in the hopes that everyone could fit into those. And you're looking at your palm and you're like, I can't even wrap half my hand around this thing.
Mama Mesa's dad taught me how to file taxes. Most adult thing that kids don't learn. Exactly. Yeah. And I wanted to point that out because I'm just glad that something I tried to teach my kids stuck with one of them.
Yeah, that's good. And like we were saying, when you fell out, yeah, that's something that really desperately, even just a base knowledge of it, needs to be taught in schools.
Yeah.
Because this is the society you're being brought up in, and to be like criminally liable in your adult years for something you're not taught.
Yeah.
It boggles my mind.
Oh yeah. And back when I had to learn how to do taxes, it was still done all on paper.
Yeah.
Can we get? I want to see a video of Bloodwing with a visor cap and a never-ending cigarette, just doing his taxes,
Oh man, back in the day, that's exactly what you got. All your receipts and your pay stubs and everything all together, and your W-2s, and it was all done on paper. Your tax paper and your calculator or adding machine, as the case may be.
I'm getting Shawshank Redemption vibes from you.
And off you went. And I didn't care how simple your taxes were to file. You were going to be at it for a couple hours. Trust me.
And I mean, obviously with today's technology, we don't need to teach kids how to do that, but simply understanding what taxes are, how you have to deal with them every year. And here's an infinite array of tools at your disposal to do them easily, whether you take it to HR Block or you do it yourself on a web browser service.
Yeah.
Teach them.
Yeah.
Because even today, I couldn't for the life of me sit down and do my own taxes.
It was my dad that taught me. I had to learn.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the extra money to go pay H&R Block, to do mine. So Dad set me down at the kitchen table with all my papers and calculator and said, here's what you do.
Yeah, it's one of those handed down traditions that we don't do or haven't done in the last couple generations.
This sucks, Dad. And he goes, yeah, it does, but you got to do it.
You got to do it.
So, yeah.
Lindsay says she's got a new flavor for her vape, and it's apple cinnamon. I'm like, that sounds...
Oh, my gosh. Working at the smoke shop, there are so many different oddball flavors for vapes. Oh, my God. I just can't believe it. The other new girl that works with me that's been there like 2 weeks longer than I am, she's 18, which brings up a whole nother trouble that I have because she's 18 and I like the girl. There's nothing wrong with her, but sometimes she's a typical 18-year-old. So she's an airhead. Mm-hmm. And because she's so young, I have nothing absolutely in common with her. We were working together. Her and I were closing the other night. And I was just trying to have conversation because, to fill the dead air. There wasn't any customers coming in at that moment. And I was talking about how Mama Minnie bought me the Bohemian Rhapsody movie. About Queen, which is an excellent movie. If you like Queen, it's a superb movie. Absolutely enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was really fun. Yeah,
really enjoyed it. Anyway, I'm trying to explain it to her, and I said, and she goes, "What movie's that? I've never heard of it." And I said, "Well, it's all about Freddie Mercury and his life." And she goes, "Who's Freddie Mercury?"
Oh no!
And I went.
You should have punched her in the mouth straight away. Everyone would have forgiven you.
Okay, we're done talking now. But she knows the vapes better than I do. So if anybody goes to the vape section, I let her handle it. Like, you go talk to them because you talk their language. I don't know the vapes.
Kids nowadays are so different from my end. Like when I was her age, because I was working at a convenience store selling smokes at her age. I was taunting after the older guys because I was like, you guys listen to better music. And my mom keeps trying to feed me Backstreet Boys. Can you save me?
But I'll listen to her down there talking to the people about their vapes. Well, what flavors you got there? Apple, pineapple, mango, crush, something. And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay.
Excuse me? What? Were you just speaking English to me?
I'm not exaggerating. They've got flavors like that. And I'm like,
yeah,
okay. Whatever.
Oh, trust me, I used to work for a vaping company who made all the different flavors, and they had a line of something like 450 different flavors. It can get very, very overwhelming, especially if you're not a vapor and you're not.
I'm not. When I go to the vape section and I'm the only one there, and somebody's wanting something at it, I just tell them, I'm honest. Look, I really am not familiar with vapes that much. So you just point at what you want and I'll get it for you. Because all our vape stuff's behind a display case.
Yeah, and most of those consumers will know what they want. Or have some idea of what kinds of flavors they want.
I think the flavors are what failed the vape for me. Like, I mean, if I do vapes, I actually go for the tobacco flavored ones.
Yeah.
Because the whole idea is that I'm trying to wean myself off of holding a cigarette.
That was one big thing that I've always disagreed with Monkey on, because he made the comment one time that nobody likes the taste of tobacco. And I said, excuse me, I do. That's why I smoked Reds for all those years before I went to rolling my own.
Yeah.
I like the taste of tobacco. So if I done vape, I would probably do the tobacco flavor, not this foo-foo banana lime pineapple.
Well, that's what I would do.
Don't get me wrong, the flavored vapes are nice, but I'm more inclined to get hungry off of those than to actually kill my need for a cigarette. Yeah.
I would take the tobacco flavor and add a little bit of other flavoring, typically vanilla. So it was like a rich tobacco with a nice little vanilla hint to it.
Something that actually balances the tobacco, because
Yeah,
tobacco
because
has
those
has its own sweet flavor. Like
those foo-foo smokes, no do.
Yeah, but there is one area that I am the shop expert, even more than the manager. And she said, I want this to be your baby. And that's the cigars. Because the girls are all afraid of the cigars because they don't smoke them. And I do enjoy a good cigar every now and again.
I like the smell of a cigar more than actually smoking it.
Oh, some of the cigars are so very smooth, though, and so very tasty. Some of them. I don't get them very often because my wife is the opposite of you, Alex. She hates the smell of a cigar. So if I smoke one, I have to go outside. Yeah. When it comes to cigars, they let me go handle that. But when it comes to the vape, I let them, like, you go handle that. I don't know nothing about it. And when it comes to the glassware, they let me go do that because they know I'm an ex-pot smoker. And we're seriously not allowed to call them by their names. We have to call it glassware.
Yeah.
Instead of bongs or pipes or, what else they got? One hitters and grinders and stuff like that. We have to, it's glassware.
Yeah, like Lindsay said, the smell of the cigar section at a liquor or tobacco store is heavenly. You're not wrong. Like anytime you go into those humidity rooms, it's amazing.
We do allow smoking in our shop, and there's a big sign right out front that says smoking is allowed in this establishment. So, yeah.
I like that idea of choice rather than the government saying, nope, can't smoke in any bars anywhere.
Yeah. You can smoke.
Blame Canada.
Which does bring its own problems. Last night, this guy come in and he's looking at the bulk tobacco on the back wall, where you roll your own. And I seen he come in with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth and the ashes are getting long. So I'm already expecting it. So I grabbed we keep ashtrays up by, the counter. I grabbed an ashtray and he seen me do it. And I put it right down on the counter, right next to the register so he could flip his ashes. What's he do? Flips them in the floor. And I'm like, you jerk bag. I have to sweep that floor.
The world is my ashtray.
Oh, you jerk bag. There's an ashtray literally 2 inches in front of you.
What douche canoe.
But yeah.
But you're liking the job so far.
I do. I really do. I understand smokers. I like most of the customers, and we have a lot of regulars, the same people in and out. And so you start to get to know them. Most of the people appreciate my humor. So and I'm a pretty good judge of character. When you see somebody come in, that person's not going to joke with you. So I just play it. I just smile and play it straight up. But a lot of them you can joke with. And they come in. Like I had a little old lady. I swear she must have been 80 years old. When I first started, the manager was showing me around the store, which I was already familiar with because it was the store that I bought my stuff from. And she showed me around and she got to the section where the old-fashioned snuff is at. The ones in the big tall cans. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The old-fashioned snuff.
Oh, yeah.
And she says, now, most of who buys this is the old ladies. And I said, really? And it's true. These old 80-year-old ladies come in and buy that snuff. So anyway, she's buying her snuff and everything. And she plays with a credit card. And of course, if you don't put your PIN number in, I have to get you to sign a receipt.
Yeah.
I don't have any choice. The register tells me whether to get their signature or not. And I have to. And it actually pops up a little sign. Sign. Okay. So sign this for me. And she's joking. She goes, what if I don't want to? This little 80-year-old lady.
You go, listen, you little old biddy. If you don't sign this, right, I'm not giving you your product. Now fucking sign it or fuck off.
So I looked at her and I put my elbow down on the counter with my arm up. And I said, well, I guess me and you's going to have to arm wrestle for it then, aren't we? Come on, let's go. And she just laughed. She just laughed. It says, well, She says, well, I don't think I want to do that. You probably win. My arm hurts. And I said, and how do you know mine don't? Come on, let's go. But yeah, I do like it. I like messing with people. I like joking with people. I do like that part of it. There's part of it that's physically hard on me, like I'm on my feet for 7-8 hours.
Yeah.
You know, that's hard on me. There is a chair that I can sit in, but there's a lot more to the job than just selling product. They very much have the philosophy there. If you've got time to lean, you got time to clean. So,
of course,
you know, so, and they do, I think it was before you came into the stream, our headquarters, it's part of a chain, and our headquarters is literally a mile down the road. So more than any other shop, we have a lot of their executives in and out at our shop. And plus they are connected to our camera feed. So they do watch us. And I was told that for a fact by our general manager, our district manager. They do watch you through the cameras. So, you know, if there's nothing going on, you feel compelled to go, okay, wipe down this case or go straighten up that product, you know, face it, you know what I'm talking about, facing it.
Yeah.
And pull the older
I've worked retail. Retail.
You know, so you got to do a lot of that. So you're on your feet, and you got to put up with some of the jerks because we're right next door to a redneck bar, and at least half of our clientele are probably half in the bag when they're in our store, which is a whole nother thing dealing with drunks, you know.
I've got a question. Do these corporate people, have you noticed, are they smokers themselves? Do they partake in any?
So far, all of them that I have personally met are.
Oh, okay.
So far. But I don't know. I haven't met them all. There's actually one of their top execs. In fact, the only one over him is the owner of the company who shares my same first name, who I haven't met yet, but I've heard all about. So I don't know if he is or not, but at least I don't think I've met them, because like I said earlier, they will come in and not address themselves, let you know that they're just in there like a customer.
Right.
And they're
right.
watching you.
Keep an eye on their business.
Haven't been shopped yet, but I'm sure it's coming. And they've warned me that it's coming since I'm new. They will get young looking people, and usually, and I know this will sound racist, but it's true, usually black people, because black people tend to look much younger than their age.
Black don't crack.
Right. To come in and buy cigarettes or buy product to see if you will card them. And if you fail, you lose your job and you get what's called a red card. If you do card them, they will hand you a green card, which means, yeah, you passed the test.
Yeah. That's actually not wrong to do. It's one of those things where, like, growing up, I didn't grow up with a lot of people of color that weren't like Chinese. It's primarily Chinese up here. So growing up, I could tell. I could tell if you were underage and Asian. Because I was used to growing up with the facial features. You could kind of see where you're going with.
Fuck you, functional.
But
what did I do?
Yes, Mama Minnie, exactly. The bars program.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what it's called, bars. Yep.
I would see it as flattery, though. Like, I mean, if people just don't know, I just take it as flattery, especially you, Alex, because I know you're sitting there like,
No, I get ID'd a lot. All right, and it cigarettes and alcohol. All right, whatever. Like there's challenge 25 in the UK. That's the system.
Same here.
Yeah. When I get ID'd for energy drinks. Just bear in mind, I don't drink any. I drink Lucozade. It's not it's a sports drink, not an energy drink. But I still buy them for Vanilla Bear. I get ID for them.
You what, mate? They ID you for energy drinks there.
Yeah,
well,
you have to
do that here.
Wow.
You have to be over 16 to drink them because kids have died.
I've seen 12-year-olds walk into the store, buy Red Bull, coffee.
Yeah, they're functional. Like years ago, I'd have kids walk up to me going, "Excuse me, can you go buy me some booze from the shop?" Not anymore. I have kids that come up to me and ask me to buy them energy drinks now.
Go buy me a 4-pack of Red Bull, please.
I think that's because of the severe health risks.
Yeah.
Here, Alex, you said, what did you call it? Challenge 25?
Yeah.
Yeah, here, if you're 40 or under, I have to card you.
Yeah, I
And
do
I
remember you saying that. Actually,
I have to scan the card in our register actually will scan the driver's license, the back of it. There's a barcode and we'll tell you, okay, yeah, they're old enough.
Yeah.
And you can't just look at it. If you just look at it and don't scan it, they'll fire you. You're gone. No tolerance. They have a zero tolerance
You got to
program.
remember that then.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know here business owners will get levied like a $40,000 fine for serving a minor cigarettes.
Yeah. So, yeah. And there's signs all over the store. There's one sign that actually says, it's not our fault. It's state law. We have to ask you.
Yeah. People are going to have to adjust to that because that's just the way it's going these days.
Yeah.
No, that's as bad as Bob. Yeah, like you said, companies being sued, huge amounts of money. It's
They're protecting their asses.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
Because for a little nothing bodega, that could be career ending for the shop.
Yeah. And if let's say I get caught not carding and I get fired, it's not just that. Then the store gets fined and I could get fined by the state, and no, don't want that.
Yeah, just card everyone, even the old ladies.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll think you're having a joke.
Yeah. And most of the older people like my age and stuff, they're, as I mentioned earlier, they're usually flattered. Like, well, thank you. You think I'm younger.
Yeah, it's just, I guess, a nice thing for them, I guess, or whatever. But when it happens to me, it annoys me.
Yeah,
because usually, like, it's in a Morrison's, like that's a big supermarket chain here in the UK, and it's usually like a middle-aged woman who's working on the self checkouts, and they usually get right in my face to look at me. They don't talk to me, they don't say anything. They're scanning my face and they're getting way too frigging close. And I'm like, yes, hello, can I help you?
Well, I can tell you exactly what they're looking for because they taught me this at this place. You look for the crow's feet and the wrinkles, not the gray hair, because young people can get gray hair. You look for the wrinkles.
Got loads of gray hair now. Well, it's gray, not gray, it's white.
Yeah, you look for the wrinkles and the crow feet. That's what they're looking for.
The next time they do it, go, if you find any crow's feet and if you don't say anything, that means you found them, and that's even more offensive.
Yeah. But yeah, I do like it. And thankfully, now that I'm past the training period, it'll be to a more a part-time, like 3, maybe 4 nights a week.
Good.
That I'll have to work. And so that'll give me more time to make content. And folks, I honestly miss making my content. I miss the 3 times a week streams. I miss making Redneck Trek. I really do miss it. I mean, I'm doing this stream now and it feels like forever since I've done a stream. It's only been a week. I've really missed it, but I've just been so dog tired. When I get home, I'll be at work telling myself, okay, when I get home, I'm going to record the voiceovers for Redneck Trek because I've had the footage recorded for 2 weeks. All I got to do is voiceovers and edit it. I'll tell myself I'm going to do that. And when I get home, I fall asleep in my chair. Just fall asleep.
That's understandable there, mate.
I'm just dog tired, But with the more part-time schedule, hopefully that won't happen. That shouldn't happen. I'll have, because what it'll be like, I've looked at next week's schedule. I have to work tomorrow. I have to close, but we close at 5:00 on Sundays. So I'll work like 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Get out of there about 5:30. I've got to close on Tuesday, which means 1 to 7, except I think I'm going in at noon. And I have to close on Friday. And we're not open Thursday because it's Thanksgiving, so we're not open. But I'll have to close on Friday, which will be 1 to 8 because we're open later on Friday and Saturday. But that's kind of like what my schedule will be like. You'll work a day, have a day or two in between, work another day, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
One thing I will say, I'm just looking at the ratio right now. 46 people watching, only half of you hit that like button.
Yeah, what's the matter
Let's
with you?
show the old man some love, eh?
I mean,
Before
listen.
we get Johnny Tight Lips over there to bust your balls.
Nice accent there. Listen, There may be other channels where it happens, but I'm talking about mine. Where else are you going to find? So far in this stream, we've talked about the menthol laws. We've talked about things your
Taxes.
parents should teach you, taxes. I mean, what other stream you gonna
Those are
find?
all exciting topics, blood.
Exactly. Come on. You never know what you're going to get. Let's go.
That's what makes this stream so fun, and why we've missed you the last couple of weeks.
Well, I'm glad you think
Taxes.
so, because that's exactly what I've always been shooting for since I started doing these streams. Is I wanted to be a little different and not just be stuck up on all the politics and the social. Yeah, that comes up, and I want it to come up sometimes, but I don't want it to be all that this stream's about. And I'm glad that I've accomplished that.
Good.
But
Well, we were happy to try to, like I said, pitch in for you when you were off. Like,
well, good. I'm glad to do that.
because we were missing you, and I was just like, for the next 2 weeks, like I said, YouTube was gonna forget that you have a scheduled thing that you do, and we were like, well, I mean, at the very least, if we at least test ourselves on our own stream, we can like shill for yours and remind people to come back at this one time. That might change, but
Mama Minnie out there, and no one would know better than her. You don't need a stream to be a little different, Dad. You got that title in the bag already. Thank you, baby.
But now we all get to see that little bit different.
Oh, you don't even know. My grandkids are constantly saying, "Papa, you're a weirdo." Well, thank you.
Well, that's how I got to know you, is through like video gaming, Arc specifically, and I was like, "Yeah, this guy's a good kind of weirdo. This is awesome. I like this guy."
Yeah, I'm different, and I embrace it.
You got it.
Yeah, but yeah, I've missed you guys too, and no offense, Functional and Jen, because I love you guys, but I've missed Alex most.
Oh, I know. Oh, I know.
Of course.
Because I'm straight up adorable, son.
I managed to harangue him into one of the replacements.
It's the worst experience of my life. Like,
I know, just like surrounded by Canadians. He didn't even have an American.
they keep saying about a lot, and I don't know if they're trying to say about.
I don't know what you're talking about, eh?
Exactly. It's that kind of crazy
Take off,
talk.
you hoser.
No, that was actually a pretty fun stream. Actually,
now we'll see who gets that reference. If you get that reference, you are officially old. I'll wait a minute.
No one's going to guess it then, are they? Because they don't want to be officially old.
If I'll wait to see if anybody gets it, and then I'll say what it is.
I was excited to see you as well, Mum of Many. It's been too long, and my job in particular has been a little bit stressful as of recent, and it's nice to sit back and relax and just have a chin wag.
That was genius, Data.
Yeah, Data gets it. He got it. You hoser. I'm talking about the McKenzie brothers, the Great White North. Yeah. Which was Bob and Doug McKenzie. It was a comedy, a Canadian
Great White
comedy.
North.
Yep.
Yeah, they were amazing.
Rick Moranis.
I miss that show.
Yeah. Take off,
had, John Candy. Sometimes he would be in there too.
Yep.
Oh, I loved John Candy.
He was my favorite. I mean, like, he wasn't probably the best of dudes. Like, when I look back and I'm like, yeah, I remember your interviews. They weren't the nicest of guys, but he was genuinely
when
good.
He was on. Yeah.
And he worked with Macaulay Culkin and all these other kids, and they never had a bad thing to say about him. So,
Yeah.
I miss
Yeah,
him.
it was hilarious stuff. Love that. Of course, I used to watch that like Kids in the Hall, all that Canadian.
Oh yeah,
kind of stuff. Yeah.
They were a breed unto themselves. I mean, that's one export that we give you guys en masse as comedians.
That's the one export you give us that we don't want to throw back at you.
Yeah.
No.
Actually, the Canadians send them here a lot as well, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those things when you're bored for like 6 to 8 months of the year, and you're just kind of stuck inside, and you're just like, you know what, hoser?
Drink beer and make jokes, eh?
Yeah.
It's quite charming.
Yeah.
Yeah, SCTV was also
Yep.
I mean, that's where you get people like Rick Moranis and what's his name, Bill Murray.
Yep, it was good stuff. Good stuff.
Well,
But
that's why I hung on to Mike from Canmore for the longest time, because it's like, he's ours.
I mean, sometimes they'll throw you a dud like Tom Green, but or Jim Carrey, but that's only because an American woman got her claws into him and corrupted him.
oh, Carrie was funny,
yeah. When he was doing his job, he's
Initially.
still very funny.
but he has totally went off the deep end. I seriously think he has mental issues. The guy is absolutely nutballs.
Yeah, I would agree with that one, because like when he went over, he was a normal Canadian. You know, I blame Hollywood, to be honest. I don't necessarily blame the U.S. so much as I blame Hollywood, because when you really look at it, I wouldn't want to be a conservative, regardless of which side of the border you're on, and be in Hollywood.
Yeah.
That just wouldn't be fun for me, I would think. And, you know, for him, he probably wasn't even that. You know, he's probably always been liberal. It's just liberal nowadays doesn't mean the same thing. So
I think the problem with Jim is he got too full of himself. You know, he just got so big, so quick. And, you know, there was a period of time there that, you know, almost half the movies out had Jim Carrey in it, you know?
yeah.
And you look at someone like Michael Myers,
Yeah.
who went through basically kind of the similar process, but didn't go crazy.
Yeah.
Small town Canadian boys who go to America, make it big, fast, and
Tom Green Show or Red Green Show. Oh, I love
Red
that.
Green,
that was great.
dude. Love
that's a
Red
Canadian staple.
You can fix everything with duct tape, guys.
Green. Yep.
It's like the Force; it has a light side, a dark side, and it binds the universe together.
And he's proof positive that redneck is not geographical; it's a state of mind.
I'm definitely a Canadian redneck blood. Definitely not a ginger. Oh my god, I have a soul.
Snickers.
Well, we are almost at the end of it. As much as I hate to, a very good stream. It's went by really fast, but you know me, I got the one format we do have. I try to keep it to 2 hours because I feel like anything more than 2 hours just starts to get redundant and boring. But yeah. Thanks, guys. All of you that have showed up to watch the stream and let me know that I wasn't forgot in my time away. Thank you very much. Great turnout. Thank you too to those that were able to donate. Sure appreciate those donations. And they will sure go to a good place. Jen, thank you for showing up.
Thank you for having me.
And being on the stream. Anything you want to shout out?
Basically Functional and I have kind of picked out a time zone for when we're going to do our Canadian stream. We are more than happy to have guests on. So if you guys want to DM either of us, you know, we're constantly looking for new voices just to give, you know, another opportunity for someone to come on and talk about things. But we're trying to focus a little bit on some of it being political so we can like introduce you guys to how Canada really runs, because I think nobody knows.
I know.
And we're gonna introduce some fun stuff to it too. Like we're gonna do some entertainment segments, some you know, get away from Canada shit, because living in it all the time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and Functional first time on, although I've known you for quite some time.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
Anything you want to shout out?
Yeah, like Jen said, we've hashed out a time for our show, The Snow Mexicans. Tuesdays and Saturdays, 5 p.m. EST, 10 p.m. GMT. I believe Tuesday will be on my channel and Saturdays will be on Jen's Snow Mexicans channel. So come join us. We talk about weird stuff from a twisted, drunken, stoned Canadian perspective.
One of these days, I should introduce you to Magic, Alex. I'm just saying, he's He's as French Quebecois as you'll ever meet.
No.
Oh, I'd love to see Blood on the show one day with Magic on. Oh, that would be great.
You would actually
No
like him.
French people.
He's one of those weird French guys that you're like, I should hate you, but I
But you're just
can't.
so adorable.
Well, he called me Miss Boobies for 2 years, so
Oh, but I like that. Snow Mexicans. Yeah, you're our aliens to the north.
And the weird British cousins to the west.
And I've saved the best for last. My boy Alex. Anything you want to shout out, dude? And thanks for being on.
Well, howdy, and thanks for having me. Make sure you fuckers turn up and watch Redneck Radio, not Redneck Radio, but Redneck Trek.
Yeah.
When Bloodwing releases it when he's able to.
A week from tomorrow. Promise.
A week tomorrow. Yeah, mark it on your calendars, folks. And I noticed that, well, at least one of my channel members is in the chat there. Michael, he's a good boy. I'm one of his co-dependents. He's going to start doing my tax returns every year, as well as functionals.
Yeah, me too. He's my new dad.
There you go. Yeah. I'm going to have something for my channel members in a couple of hours' time. And tomorrow I'm going to have quite possibly the biggest, longest video I've ever made released on the channel, Irate Alex channel. And it's going to be a video destroying Shani for Christ.
Just looking at some of the comments in your Discord, it's making my mouth water just wanting to see this video. I'm getting excited.
Yeah, I'm going to fucking decimate her. I'm already at maybe 50 minutes worth of content so far. I've got more to make.
Well, the nice thing about Chantel is the one. I know this one isn't necessarily about Chantel, but isn't she Canadian?
Chantel herself is Canadian. Shani for Christ is American.
Okay, yeah, because Chantel, quite often she says stuff, and I'm just like, maybe I should mention this to Alex, because she's not telling you the truth. If she brings up bullshit, just reference one of us, because we can tell you that she's telling you a lie. Could do that.
She has a sins video coming up in a few weeks' time, and don't worry, I'll definitely hit you up for that.
Do it. And as for me, as I mentioned earlier, I am going to get back to more regular content. The stream Redneck Radio might have to be on kind of a rotating schedule because of how my work schedule will be rotating. For instance, I hope to stream Wednesday since I do have to work Tuesday. So be on the lookout for that. I'm not 100% sure I'm going to be able to, but I hope to.
Make sure that bell's click, people.
Yeah, and I'm not scheduled to work next Saturday, so there will be that. And the only reason I'm not streaming Thursday is because that's Thanksgiving here in the U.S. So,
what are you guys having?
I don't know. Food. Lots and lots of food. Yeah. Thanks everybody for coming out, and I have sure missed you all. And thanks for coming out in force and supporting me. But until next time, get out of my yard.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.